Hey guys, this is Mark. Welcome back. In this lecture, we will continue exploring the functionality of lists and we will focus on sorting. What is sorting? Obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is sorting data alphabetically or numerically. However, there are other scenarios related to sorting where you could sort it by the length of your string or by the fact whether numbers are odd or even or anything else. There is a multitude of different scenarios that might exist in the applications that you will be building. Let's start with this basic list that we have used in previous lectures. This list contains strings indicating different colors, and that list is stored in a variable called rainbow. So starting with the most basic sorting function, let's sort these values alphabetically. And for this, if you go into the lists category, you will see there is a block that is called sort. Let's drag it out here, add a print block to our logic and connect sort to print, and then connect rainbow variable to the sort block. And let's inspect these drop downs here in the sort. By default, it comes out where it says numeric ascending. Click on numeric, you will see there are three options. So you can sort either by the fact that the numbers will be in the list, and that's where numeric applies. In our case, it doesn't apply since we store string values. So select alphabetic. Since every single letter that the string start is in uppercase, then the case sensitivity doesn't really matter. But if you just want to completely exclude case sensitivity, then select alphabetic, ignore case. Then in this case, uppercase R and lowercase r are going to be treated exactly the same. There are two options here for ascending and descending, and that defines in which order the items are going to be rearranged in that list. Whenever you run sorting, the original list that is stored in the rainbow variable is not impacted. What happens is the sort block creates a new list, and that list is returned out of this block, and what we will do is simply print it out. But if you were to store it in a variable, then that variable, whether it's a rainbow again, where you basically overwrite previous values, will have the updated list, or you can create a new variable and you will have two lists, the original one and the modified one. Let's run this page. And as you can see now, we got that list. And then the order of these items in here is different than what we have in the original one. So you can see it's blue, green, orange, where originally it was red, orange, yellow. And as you can see, the values are ordered alphabetically. If we were to change it to the descending order and rerun our page, then you will see that the values are now ordered in the descending, where it starts with the one that is closer to the end of the alphabet, and it goes to blue, where B, it's almost at the beginning of the alphabet. And that's just the basic sorting. If you were to have a list that contains numbers, then in this case, the sorting would work exactly the same way, where your numeric list or list containing numeric values would be sorted in either increasing fashion, which is ascending, or decreasing, which is descending. In fact, let's create a demo, and I will demonstrate how to actually create a list of numeric values. We will have a list of fixed length with completely random numbers in there. For this, I will create a new variable, and I will call it numbers. And let's set this variable, numbers, to an empty list. Let's talk about why we need to create this empty list. Well, what's going to come next? It will be logic that essentially populates this list with values. And then remember, if we don't initialize our variable, by default, it's going to be undefined. And then if we were to start adding values, our random numbers, to that undefined list, there's actually no list because we're adding a value to something that is undefined. And there will be an error in this case. So we created an empty list. We have this placeholder to where we can add those values. And let's add the logic to populate our list with values. For this, now that you know how loops work, let's add a loop, and we go from 1 to 30, meaning there will be 30 iterations of this loop, and every iteration we will add a number to our list. And in here, if we go back to lists, you will see this block where we can select our numbers list, and then in list numbers add, and then this will be the actual value that we're adding to our list. This value, since we said that we want to use random numbers, if we go to math, in here you will see a random integer from 1 to 100. Put it in here, and that's what's going to happen in every step of this loop. This block will just give us a random number between 1 and 100. Or if you want it to be greater than 100, just put, whatever the number you want to be there. So these are the lower and upper boundaries of that range. A random number is generated, and this block takes that number and adds it to this list. So our list with every new iteration of the loop will continue to grow. And in the end, we will have a list of 30 random numeric values. We can print that list out just to see what it looks like. And in here, let's take, and as you can see, I always try to reuse these blocks rather than going here and taking it out. It's a matter of preference. If you find this convenient where you already see a string block or your variable, you can just Command C, Command V, or Control C, Control V, whatever the operating system that you're on supports, copy and paste. It's a very easy way to kind of, replicate those blocks. So this will print out numbers exactly as they were produced by our loop. But the next instruction that we will have will sort those numbers. So here I'm taking the sort again, putting it in here, and then connecting numbers. Let's get rid of this rainbow. It stayed there from after copy and paste. And I'm changing it to numeric. Numeric, let's say ascending. Exactly the same block, but now it works with numeric values for the reason that the numbers list contains numbers. Let's run this page and take a look at the results. So this is the list of random numbers. As you can see, it has 30 values, completely random. And then the next one will be exactly the same list, but with all the numbers rearranged. And as you can see, it is in the ascending order, starting from 3 to 99 with whatever the numbers were in that list. Very easy to use. Okay, so that's your sorting capability. But let's say if you need to add some other logic into sorting, or you need to sort it by some other criteria other than just alphabetic or numerical. There is another block for that gives you an ability to sort by some other criteria. Let's take a look at this block. If we go into lists, scroll all the way to the bottom, almost to the bottom, you will see this block that says sort, ascending, and then has a couple of connectors. Let's use a print block, copy, paste, get rid of the other thing, and connect the sort to that print block. And let's say that we will be sorting rainbow. So connect rainbow to the list. So this identifies what list you will be sorting. What's going on in this block? First of all, it will create an iterator. It means it will go through each and every item in your list, and it will give you an opportunity to add your logic to do some kind of processing on that item and instruct the actual block how that item fits in your overall sorting strategy. For example, let's say that we want to sort our colors of the rainbow list by the following quantity, and that will be the length of the actual word. So we want the colors that have shorter names to appear first, and then as that list continues, we want the longer named colors to be further down. So the quantity by which we will be sorting that list will be the actual length of each individual word. Whenever this sort block iterates over that collection, over that list, then each time it kind of goes to the next element, the current element will be represented by this item variable. And the block comes with that item defined in there. In fact, when you drag it out here, you will see in the variables item variable created for you. If you want to create some other variable and change that to another variable, no problem, you can do that. It is supported, so you can customize that. Or if you want to rename this item to something else, like for instance, rename variable, and we can say current rainbow color. Then you get the current item as the, you get the actual current color with the current rainbow color variable. So the sort by connector is used to identify the actual quality, to instruct sort where it will basically be placed. And as we said, what matters to us is the length of that item as the deciding criteria. So what that means is we can just go to text and get the length of, and then in here we put current rainbow color. So we're basically sorting by length of the current color. Okay, so this sort again will create a new list where all the items in the original list are rearranged based on this criteria, and then we print it out. Let's take a look what we're gonna get. In here you see that this list was rearranged where red, the shortest one, then blue, 4 characters, then green, 5 characters. They are appearing in the order where the length of that color, the actual string, is growing. And that the order is ascending. If we change that to descending without changing anything else, it's still the length. Rerun this page, you'll see that now it is in the descending order. Okay, very, very easy to use. So again, this block is used whenever the ordering for sorting is not defined by either alphabetical or numerical rule of ordering. So when it's some other quality. And that's it. So there are really 2 options available to you to sort your lists, and I think they're quite easy to use. Thank you for watching this video, guys. And as always, happy codeless coding.